Have you found inspiration from Facebook or from someone else's cards, like handmade cards, or to complete your scrapbook layouts, or I don't know, almost anywhere you can find inspiration? But I was scrolling Facebook and Stampin' Up! Had posted this picture here of this card and this sketch. And what do you think? Do you like this card or this sketch idea? I really like the blocks. It's very symmetrical. Um, I'm not too keen on maybe the blue and the wild wheat. I don't know what blue this one is. I can't remember what it was, what they listed in the post. But I saw it and went, oh, that's kind of neat, but that's just a card. So I scrolled on by. Well, my mind then connected the blocks with photos from a flight I took with my dad. So hi, I'm Amanda Farlinger with From Where I Stamp, and I help busy women scrapbook their memories using stamps, ink, and paper. So I thought of this picture here, which is my childhood home in Sydenham, Ontario, where I grew up, and it is right there. But the grid pattern, but you don't see that from the road. And these photos are from 1997, December, when Dad took me flying because he got his pilot's license, and he could take one passenger. So we all got to take turns flying with him. And this new bundle, the Forever Forest bundle, is in the new catalog that started this week. And I really love being outdoors in the trees. So this was a definite yes to purchase for me. And the bundle is $78.25 if you purchase the dies and the stamp set together. So I love these little pieces. Oh, this must have fallen. So like this mountain range, and it cuts out the big stamped trees and the little moon. Oh, sorry, you can't quite see. And some stars, clouds. These are rocks. Well, this one's a cloud too. So it's a great die set. So we're going to do some stamping and die cutting today. All right, so this paper. Now, fall is my favorite time of year. I'm just going to move this off to the side. So fall is my favorite time of year. And there's this, what is it called? All About Autumn Specialty Designers Series paper. And this paper here, like, look at the copper sheen on it. So that's what we're gonna use today to scrapbook these photos from flying with my dad. All right, so put some of these things down. All right, so this is kind of what I came up with. So the blocks idea. So what I did was I took this sketch and I turned it on its side. That's one of my favorite things to do. If you're not sure if a sketch is going to work for you, like if I had portrait photos, that would be different. I could use it this way, but I have landscape photos, and these photos, I did trim off a little bit, but if, I don't know, back 97, 95, I don't know, there was these cameras that had the drop-in film, and you can select the size. So it had like 4x6, and then there was a bigger size, and then a really long panoramic size that you could get printed. So my mom really loved, well, so did I, taking wider photos in 4x6, which works with this idea. So if you're doing a 12x12 layout, you might need some longer photos to get this effect. So I also flipped it around a little bit. So the photo was up here. So this is here. This is my house here. And then Dad and I. And then this one is kind of now this one may have been taken a little bit earlier when he took my brother or my mom up. I don't remember. But you know, it's close enough. There's no leaves on the trees. The grass is a little more greener. Whatever. So I have Moody Mauve is the color on the back of this, because that's one of the colors in this pack of designer paper. And you can see here, this one's not glued down. This here, you can see how it's glittery, but then the back is like an autumn, like a perfect walk in the autumn. My favorite. All right, so And this is really simple. So we're using Very Vanilla because that's one of the colors in this pack of designer paper. And picking a pack of designer paper first, or actually, I find it's easier to pick pictures first and then pick designer paper that coordinates with the photos. And you could do it whichever way. Experiment, try some different ways. And so I picked the photos first and then find paper that'll match. So this one, because it's, even though it's December, it's still kind of fallish. The colors work. So we're just going to put this grid together. So I kind of just laid them down, the photos and the paper down, to see what I liked the look of before cutting anything. So I picked, these are two different patterns from the same pack of paper. And then of course the leaves, which I could have used the back here, but I felt that this one didn't need to stand out as much. And then we're just going to use, so I used some liquid glue on the designer paper. This one is Stampin' Seal. So if I do need to take those photos off that layout, I can do that. And I am going to put a little bit in the center. I usually don't, but because this is a longer photo, I feel like it needs a little bit more support. And then we're just going to pop this down. So you could change up the dimensions. So if you had a 4x6 photo, you might want to do an 8.5 by 11 page or something like that. All right, so I'm not going to glue this down just yet. We're going to do some stamping. So there's our grid like that. And it used 4 different patterns. So I have 1, 2, 3 different patterns. So that kind of works with the idea that they provided. And this banner here, we're going to use that for my title. So let's do some stamping. So I have some Very Vanilla. And I was trying to decide between Pretty Peacock and Mossy Meadow. And this is where I love having photos to work with, because this crazy coat that I'm wearing, it's like a reversible jacket. Those were all the rage, right? So I took the colors from the designer paper, and the Pretty Peacock matched the best, but I felt that both kind of worked too. I guess it picks up the headphone color too. So I figure that we could do some stamping using Pretty Peacock, because I like that one of the two. Okay, put that over there. And we're going to stamp this tree. And grab a block. We need our chamois so we can clean it off. And now, because, I don't know if you can quite see it, but this stamp set, maybe be better on here. Not quite. So this stamp set has really good, what's the word I'm looking for? Texture to the stamp. So because of that, I have an extra bone folder, and these ink pads can stay pretty juicy, which is great. But when you're trying to do a bit more intricate stamp set, then you might want to smoosh the ink very gently, because you don't want to wreck your stamp pad. And then this here, it's discolored from all the inks. And you just like you would clean your stamp, just do that. And then that way, I set it off to dry. That way you can use it again next time. So I have a bone folder for folding cards, and I have a bone folder for my ink pads. And then you just pick up the ink, and we're going to stamp it. Now that is kind of light, so maybe I smushed the ink too much. Let's try it a little darker, and then we can decide which one we like better. I don't like either. So you know what? I'm going to go with my pre-stamped, pre-die cut one. All right. Of course, we need to clean our stamp so it can be put away. All right. So we're just going to, I don't know. You could pick one or the other, but I did some stamping earlier. So here's our pre-stamped die cut with, what's the word I want? Dimensionals on it. All right. So now we're going to die cut some of these really cool pine trees. And I mean, I love pine trees because they're green year-round. And they're just fun. So they can be for Christmas, or they can be for camping, or they can be for, you know, a bunch of different reasons. And I think like this stamp here is like maybe snow, or you can use it as rain, either or maybe even like fireflies in the forest as well. All right, so I have a piece of adhesive sheet here on the back, and then we're going to take a couple of these and open up our Stampin' Cut mini machine. And we have our platform and our plates. And this side, the side that's sticky, goes down. And then you can put a bunch of these. Oops, knocking things over. You can put a bunch of these on if you want. You want to make sure that you're getting them over where the adhesive sheet is. And then you just pull back the die. We're going to put the dies away because these are kind of small. And I don't want to lose my dies because I love these trees. I'm not sure if I'll ever use the big tree, but we'll see. You never know. Maybe I'll create like a really great forest for the back of one of my scrapbook layouts. All right, so, and I love the cut and emboss machine, either the mini or the big, because you just flip up the flaps. All right, so now we can put the layout together. So I said I wasn't going to put this picture down yet. I apologize for my puppy. He wants to say hello, but he's in his kennel at the moment. So I have this piece of Very Vanilla. I cut it big because I wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure it tucked under the photo. And I already have my journaling. Yes, Flynn, you're saying hello. And we're just going to use the same kind of spacing. Let me give him some kibbles. Maybe that will be enough to quiet him for a little bit. And then I have my little banner. So Flight Over Home. I used Alphabest, and I stamped this ahead of time because I didn't want to make you watch me stamp each individual little letter. So what I also did, what I used our Stampin' Right marker. Whoops. Our Stampin' Right marker. They've been redesigned, so if you have some of the older ones, pick up some, especially the black. I love how it writes. So I wrote over, so that way it wasn't so long. Well, now Griffin's come over going, oh, Mom, can I have some kibbles too? So we'll just give him those. And put a little bit of glue on this. It sits kind of up here-ish. And at the end, like this end is not like square, so it's not that big of a deal because I made sure that it will tuck behind the photo as well. So my pre-stamped die cut little tree. So I decided to put it up on dimensionals to give it a bit more depth in my layout. And then we have tons and tons because I want to make sure my photo doesn't get bent or wrecked or anything in my scrapbook. So now, and I had this photo here, but because I decided to put this photo over top, I decided to swap these because if I cover up Dad's arm or the seat, it's not that big of a deal. So we want to go like here. So I didn't want to cover up this corner. I felt this was better. So we have that. And then we have our die cut trees. So you can pull off the backing. And because these trees are so thin, I'd hate to try to use some liquid adhesive on there, some liquid glue, because I'd get it everywhere. So these adhesive sheets are perfect for that. And you need nails or take your pick tool or tweezers to take the backing off just to start it usually. And there we go. So there is my Flight with Dad, Flight Over Home layout using this sketch as my inspiration. And I love carving out this time to make these videos for you because it's my way of sharing my passion to help all of us, wherever you are watching this, to find time to have a little creativity in your life. And I'll have a blog post with instructions, and the link will be down below in the description. And it'll have a link of where you can purchase these products. If you live in Canada and would like to place your order with me, that link will be down below as well. So every week I post a video on scrapbooking. So I hope you'll join me next week. And thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you next time. Happy stamping.